Many blessings. So I wanted to share something today that I find really interesting because if you look at Facebook, if you look at the news, if you look at yourself, if you look at the world, if you just have a look, right? One of the things that you'll probably notice is this strange addiction to look at things that make us feel miserable. Yeah, you might have noticed it. And I first discovered this when I was living in Hawaii, and I was on the beach. Everything was the best ever. I was having a great old time. Remember walking down the beach, feeling particularly pleased about life in many many ways. But I also noticed that for some unexpected reason, even though everything was perfect, even though I was walking on the beach, I had time, I had money, I had freedom, I had a great relationship, I had everything that I thought I wanted, I noticed some part of me would prefer to focus on negative things and start to get some kind of juice out of being negative, right? So even though everything's great, the tendency to look at something and see something that's not right and then feel bad about it. I noticed that. It was really funny being on the beach, yeah, or being in a beautiful place, and then even in that situation, feeling particularly miserable, right? And so there's justification to be miserable sometimes. Like if everything's going wrong, you say, well, of course I feel terrible. My life's a total disaster. Yes, it's like, well, there's reason for it, right? But when everything goes well and we still feel bad about life, when things are great, then we have to recognize there's something a little bit off about the whole thing. And so this really became apparent to me a long time ago. And since then, I've been fascinated with this. I just want to bring this up because if you look at Facebook, right, you'll see there's all sorts of terrible things happening in the world. Yeah. There's all sorts of things that we don't like about the world and about our lives. Yeah. There's tons of stuff. I mean, the world's a total mess, frankly. And we can't pretend that it isn't. We're not sort of putting our head in the sand and saying it's the best ever when actually it's not. Because there's horrible, horrible things happening all the time. But at the same time as this, there are many, many blessings in our life. Wonderful, wonderful things that we could be happy about. And I've noticed this in myself again and again, even when things are the best ever, this tendency to focus on negative stuff when things are great. Yeah, this tendency to, instead of focusing on blessings, on what's great, to just complain about something or to make things worse than they are. It's such an ingrained habit that it can completely destroy our lives. And it doesn't make anything any better, right? And this is a very, very deep thing. And most people, frankly, can't handle this. It's a big deal to actually be able to admit to ourselves that there's some part of us, inside of us, that gets the juice out of suffering. Yeah, it took me. I've been on a spiritual path now for nearly 20 years, right? And it took me about 15, 12 or 15 years before I realized that I was addicted to suffering. 15 years, getting up in the morning every day really early, doing all this meditation, still took me 15 years to recognize that this was going on. So people are saying, hi, hello, Maria Hall, many blessings. And so I'm just bringing this up because if you look on Facebook, right, you'll see that there's a tendency to focus on negative things. And one thing is to see something that isn't right and make a decision that we need to change it, all right? So there's many things in our life, like for example, like I was feeling cold, so I could complain about the cold or I could wear a hat. Do you know what I mean? So I'm wearing a hat? Yeah, and so if I'm hungry, I can complain about being hungry or I can get something to eat. That's like practical. But there's so many, many things in life that there's nothing we can do about them. There's nothing we can do at all. But if you look around, there seems to be huge amounts of attention being given to situations that we can't do anything about practically, that probably don't affect our life directly anyway. And yet the amount of energy being invested in those things is robbing us of the ability to actually enjoy the blessings that we have today. Yeah, because if I'm wandering around my life and I'm looking at 500 things that are wrong with the world, with my life, right? What's the chances of me actually being happy? What's the chances of you being happy today if you look at all this stuff? And there's endless things, you know. If you've ever been in a queue, right? If you've ever been on the motorway, yeah, on the highway, and everything slows down because there's a car crash, yeah. Have you ever wondered why does it slow down? Why does it slow down when there's a car crash? Because the car's on the side of the road. The car's been moved. There's been the broken car. The car crash is now off the side, so there's nothing blocking the highway. Yeah. Do you know why it slows down? Because everyone wants to see the car crash. They want to see the car smashed up. They want to see if there's any blood. Like, this isn't conscious. This is unconscious. Everyone drives real slow and goes, let me see if I can have a look at this car crash. Why do we want to look at the car crash? Because some part of us is a bit sick and it likes to see nasty things. That's why we see horror films. That's why we watch the news. That's why the news, yeah, the news companies, they make billions and billions of dollars, yeah, globally, by giving us nasty things to look at, right? And they know that if they didn't have shocking information, shocking news stories, no one will bother watching it. Yeah, if they've started saying this great thing happened today, this great thing happened today, their readership would pretty much end tomorrow. Like, no one would care. Yeah, because the ego is designed to see nasty things and go, I don't like it. I don't like it, but I do like it, but I want it, but I don't like it, but I want it, but I don't like it. Yeah. So this capacity to see this nasty stuff and focus on it instead of something else is so ingrained, and it requires a huge amount of humility and honesty to admit it to ourselves, because we can have higher and higher and higher levels of joy. Yeah, we could be so much more happy than we are if we're willing to give up this addiction to focus on negative things that we can't change. Yeah, focusing on negative things that you can change is great, but focusing on negative things that we can't change isn't going to help anything. It just makes us feel depressed. It makes us feel as if we haven't got any power, right? And feeling like we're depressed and powerless is hardly a good place to live from. So I just wanted to address this. Yeah, this is one of the books that I've been writing, and I haven't been able to finish this book. It's called Addicted to Suffering. I haven't been able to finish the book because it's such a huge topic, and I haven't overcome it completely myself. Yeah, because I still find myself focused on negative things, that I haven't been able to get to the end of it. Right, but I'm just bringing this up because right now, today, and every day, you can either choose to focus on all the wonderful things in your life. Remember that you're a spiritual being. Remember that we're just cosmic travelers. We're guests here in this wonderful planet Earth that we're inhabiting for this time being. Or we can unconsciously go into a trance and then spend half our time looking at all this terrible stuff happening, feeling miserable about ourselves, feeling miserable about life, not doing anything about it. And what good is that going to do for any of us? Yeah, do you know what I mean? And this is something we actually have control over. We don't have control over everything in life, but we do have control over where we invest our focus. Do we want to focus on that and complain about it, and we can't change it, or do we want to realize that we're safe and we're secure and we're free? Yeah, where's the focus? Where's the focus going to be, right? And when you add this up over days and weeks and months and years, this is completely life-changing. If you imagine two people, one person spends all their time focused on the negative things and addicted to suffering, and someone else focuses on their blessings. Yeah, 1 week later, 2 weeks later, 5 years later, what's going to be the difference? You know, so I witnessed this, I discovered this when I was walking on the beach in Hawaii, and everything was great, right? And so this is, I feel like, a blessing for me, and also a blessing for everyone else, that we need to give up this addiction to suffering. And it is an addiction, and it requires deep introspection to admit that we're doing it. because we can choose to focus on something negative right now, or to let go and be blessed. Yeah. Where's my focus? Well, I'm focused on my blessings. I'm focused on blessing and enjoying life and being grateful to be here with everyone. You know, it's such a beautiful thing to actually have the capacity to talk to people all over the world. Yeah, I've only just started doing these live things, but I'm quite enjoying it. I'm sitting here in the sun. Just very, very grateful. And I know that if I can help one person focus on their freedom today, then the world is a better place than it was. You know, if I can focus on my freedom, my joy, and you can focus on yours, we've done far more to help the world just by choosing to give up our addiction to suffering than we would have done having righteous indignation and feeling better than everyone and charging around and saying everything's wrong. Yeah, there's enough do-gooders in the world, there's enough people running about, but how many people have given up the addiction to suffering? You know, that's like the hardest thing to do. So we can just do that one thing, then we have done a huge, 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 huge service. Yeah, it's a lot easier to be anti something and say this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, with have no solution, than it is to actually just be be free. Yeah, and it's just an ongoing practice. So sending you so much love and blessings. I think I might do one of these every day just to enjoy connecting with all of you wonderful beings, divine beings. Thank you for being here. Sending you lots of love and aloha, and talk to you soon.